This video is brought to you by Mack Weldon. Clothing that's so good, they're practically bulletproof. The Defenders TV series has arrived. The culmination of a Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Daredevil again, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist series. And it's got everything you'd expect from a Marvel Netflix show. Hallway fights, sass.
We got a problem?
Haircuts, special effects, some choreography that's great, and then some Iron Fist choreography. And people telling other people that they're not so different.
The truth is, you and I, we're not so different.
You and I are the same.
It's got it all. I have so many thoughts, but I'm saving my review for this Monday's episode of the Weekly Planet podcast, which will be linked below. Because this is all about Easter eggs and references. Let's get into that right now. This series not only brings back a whole lot of main, but also supporting characters from various shows. It opens with the return of Colleen Wing and a person who turns out to be Elektra, who I want to touch on a bit later. There's also mention of Jessica Jones's massive personal victory over Kilgrave. Foggy Nelson rocks up with a sharp new haircut. We see Stick, Trish Walker, Claire Temple, Hogarth, we get Karen Page, Jessica Jones's neighbor Malcolm, Misty Knight, plus mentions of Bobby Fish, Diamondback, nice outfit idiot, Mariah Dillard, and Ward Meacham. And in what's become a bit of a series staple, Turk Barrett gets beat up a bit.
Okay, I heard about it.
As far as the villains go, Sigourney Weaver makes her debut as the ancient head of the Hand, plus we get the return of Madame Gao, who's probably still Crane Mother, or maybe she isn't. There's zero new information on that front, plus Bakudo is back from the dead. Good on him. He must have ate some dragon bones or something. I'm not sure. Was this whole thing building towards finding some dragon bones that were under New York, but also holding up New York? Do you think that's... what? We get some callbacks to events from previous Netflix series. The door is still smashed in at Jessica Jones's office, and the whole thing's all busted up. Luke Cage and Claire Temple get coffee, which is actually code for not getting coffee and instead having sex. Roof parkour is back, which might just be my favorite thing in the world. Look at him go. He's moving about a lot, but it's more efficient somewhat, I think, with all the spins and the flips. Josie's bar is seen again, an old Matt Murdock, Foggy Nelson hangout, and we see an image of Kunlun, the training ground of all the members of the Hand, as well as the current Iron Fist. It's also mentioned that Alexandra killed a previous Iron Fist. The Black Sky returns in the form of Elektra, the previous one being some kid that Stick murdered because he's a really bad bloke, or he's a really good bloke. I don't know, he kind of seems like a bad bloke. Luke Cage stands still in a hoodie and gets shot up a bunch, which we got a lot of in his series, and it's nice to see Danny Rand getting called out on his bullshit. In particular, with this line.
The immortal Iron Fist, living weapon and protector of the ancient city, is still a thundering dumbass.
There's also fewer, far less than the previous series at least, nods to the wider MCU, including The Incident.
After everything we've been through, we can't help but think it's the incident or terrorism.
Just say the time that aliens came down from the sky. It's okay to say that now. We saw a dragon skeleton. There's a bulletproof man. You are allowed to say aliens. Also, seeing as this series is being heralded as the beginning of Marvel Netflix Phase 2, it seems appropriate that like in the MCU Phase 2, we're going to get some limb loss as a nod to The Empire Strikes Back. In particular, Stick, who cuts off his own hand to escape handcuffs. He didn't cut off his thumb or even break it. He cut off his hand. That seems excessive. I think there's a good chance Stick might be a lunatic. Daredevil wears a scarf over his face, kind of a nod to his first black costume, but he does eventually bust out his new one. It's a nice looking costume, almost as nice as a Mack Weldon t-shirt. Am I right? I don't mind saying it, especially because this is a paid ad within my video that helps me pay for rent and food, and Mack Weldon clothing. Because Mack Weldon are a quality clothing company that have sweet looking hoodies, underwear, undershirts, t-shirts, polos, socks, sweats, which are all famously antimicrobial, which basically means you can wear them all day and they smell great and not like a pile of hot garbage. They also fit really well and they are genuinely my favorite t-shirts. I got like 6 of them. So if you like clothing that's good and not terrible, maybe check them out by visiting mackweldon.com and use the offer code Mr. Sunday Movies for 20% off your purchase. All that is linked below. Now, this wouldn't be a comic book-based TV series without a nod to the comic books this comic book-based TV series is based off. We see the return of Seagate Prison, which is also seen in that Marvel one-shot, All Hail the King. The word defender or defending is used a couple of times, a nod towards the team of the same name and the name of this series.
Are you a public defender?
No.
Luke Cage at one point sports a yellow t-shirt, as he often does in the comics. Plus we get a Luke Cage Iron Fist showdown. And even though Luke Cage is all, I've had enough of your shit, we're never hanging out again after this.
We fix this thing together. Then that path comes to an end.
They're actually quite a famous comic book duo. Matt Murdock also shows up to defend his fellow superheroes, which he's always been a big proponent of. Elektra's resurrection is something that happens to her in the comics after being killed by Bullseye, and her new costume somewhat reflects that traditional version. The Chaste are also mentioned, the order that battles the Hand.
No, there's another organization.
We call ourselves the Chase.
These names are killing me.
Apparently they're all now dead because Stick's gone, even though we did see another member, Stone, in a previous series. At one point, the Defenders escape via the sewers, which might be a reference to the Ninja Turtles. The Ninja Turtles themselves being somewhat a parody of Daredevil. Misty Knight gets her arm cut off. Traditionally, she does have a cybernetic arm, which she might have next time we see her.
Danny wanted to say that he has connections at this hospital, and it's a state-of-the-art kind of place, so...
She might even do some more teaming up with Colleen Wing, as they are another famous-ish comic book duo. There's also a hint towards a reconciliation between Luke Cage and Jessica Jones, even though she straight up murdered his wife. I mean, she was under mind control at the time, but that's something I'd imagine is difficult to get past. In the comics though, they end up having a kid together, which is nice. John Raymond, the guy looking to explode Midland Circle, is also the name of a Marvel penciler, and of course, no Marvel project is complete without a sneaky Stan Lee cameo. Good on you, Stan, but are you a spaceman now or what? Or are you a Skrull? Tell us! The future of Marvel is in constant motion. What's happening and when is it happening? I'm always asking myself. Am I obligated to watch The Inhumans? Seems unfair at this point. That's all I'm saying. We do know, however, that Matt Murdock is not dead. I mean, nobody ever dies in comics anyway. So why would a little thing like an entire building falling on a person have any kind of long-term repercussions? But in the inevitable Daredevil Season 3 we'll be getting, it looks like he'll be reunited with his mother Maggie, who's now a nun and is mentioned by name in the closing sequence.
Get Maggie. Tell her he's awake.
Jessica Jones Season 2 is also on the way. That's been filming. Kilgrave will be returning, but it appears only as some kind of apparition. What shows up though, after the Defenders credits, is the trailer for the Punisher TV series. It's apparently going to debut sometime around November, and will return to the traditional 13-episode Marvel Netflix run, which is too long. 8's perfect. You don't have to do 13. We don't know a hell of a lot about that series, except it's supposed to adhere more to the comic book style of the character and will focus a bit more on his military background. Micro, Frank Castle's trusty sidekick and tech guy, will also debut, and Karen Page will return to assist him. Look forward to The Punisher in November of this... Wait, I already said that. Here's the winner of last week's Loot Crate, and if you want to win next week's box, just leave any comment below. Perhaps on one of the many Easter eggs that I have no doubt forgotten. Like how this series keeps forgetting to include the real-life dragons that apparently exist in this universe. Just show us a dragon! Game of Thrones has so many dragons, you should have at least one dragon! And hey, if you like video games, well, every Tuesday we do something here called Caravan of Garbage, where we take a journey into the past to play a terrible or sometimes great thing. Last week was Marvel Nemesis, Rise of the Imperfects. Here's a clip.
We're going to say certain characters.
Certain characters can pick up things and certain characters can't. Like if you're
Yes.
Iron Man, you can bam.
Yeah, so
that was a big throw for someone who's not.
I shouldn't be able to pick up this car. Check it out. I'm gonna get this car. Hey,
You know
can we lift the car together?
Oh, maybe. Hang on. First, I'll just check this thing real quick.
Okay.
That's what I was checking.
That was a
See if I can hit you
trick.
with it.
All right.
Okay, we do it.
Okay.
Teamwork.
Okay.
I flipped you. That was a good flip. But
I'm still down.
I just want to hit somebody with a car. It's always been my dream. Oh no.
Daily Bugle.
Yeah, the Daily Bugle.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Is that Johnny Storm's
Oh,
face?
he's not looking good at all.
Am I the evil Johnny Storm?
No, that's regular Johnny Storm. He's just real sick.
He needs to see somebody
Mm.
to be put down.
Let's see if I can leap through here to my death.
You will be able to.
Oh, I can.
And if you want, you can check out my podcast, The Weekly Planet. That's the one I mentioned up top. Comes out every Monday, and we always talk movies and comics and TV shows. This week will be all about the Defenders in great depth. In some depth, I should say. But thanks for watching this. I appreciate it. Take care.